Accra. Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Citi News.
It's midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News live from our studio at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. My name is Ajwa Tinkrama Domina. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, Finance Ministry warns of dire implications of a presidential assent to the anti-LGBTQ plus bill, including losing $3.8 billion over the next 5 to 6 years. We'll hear from the minority who says the Finance Ministry's proposal is scandalous. Also coming up, Electoral Commission releases long-awaited electoral calendar. Key among the Commission's plans is a declaration of presidential results within 3 days after the December polls. There have been reactions to this.
You will notice that there's no time allotted for transfer of votes, for instance. And that's a very critical part of the electoral process. It's now non-negotiable part of the office's calendar.
Still in this package, Chamber of Independent Power Generators predict debt of $1.8 billion for the country by end of year as energy sector woes deepen.
The PURC's decision to reduce electricity tariffs by 6.56%, I'm afraid, is very likely to raise the power sector debt to about 1.8 billion to IPPC alone by the end of the year.
And later, we'll bring you exciting diaries from the Citi FM's 2024 Heritage Caravan as patrons describe experience so far as educative.
Fun we had at Citi TV before we even settled to Volta region, and then the cultural display we engaged in, that was also a learning curve for us.
Stay with us for details of these and more in the next 30 minutes. The bulletin is live on Facebook on Citi 97.3 FM. We are also live across the country on our partner stations in the Western region. Find us on Beach Hand 105.5 FM in Takrade. In the Bono region, we're on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyang. In the Ashanti region, this is Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi. Orange 107.9 FM also in Kumasi. In the Volta region, we're on Revival 99.3 FM. In the Northern region, this is Radio Bimbala 91.9 FM. In the Upper East region, you can find us on Tanga 93.7 FM in Bolga. And in the Upper West region, this is Tusong 97.3 FM and Jirapa 96.1 FM.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
We are grateful for your company. Now, the Ministry of Finance has called on President Nana Akufo-Addo to defer his assent to the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, also called the Anti-LGBTQ Plus Bill. In a brief on the immediate implication on the 2024 budget, the ministry urged the president to postpone his assent till the court rules on the legal issues tabled by some civil society organizations. The ministry is warning that an assent to the bill will, among other things, cause Ghana to lose a total of $3.8 billion in World Bank financing over the next 5 to 6 years. Here are excerpts of the statement.
The likelihood of Ghana to face financial consequences due to the bill emanates from the World Bank's stance on human rights and non-discrimination policies. Already, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has waded into the current development, expressing similar concerns. Specifically from the World Bank, Ghana may this year alone lose the anticipated $600 million budget support and the $250 million for the Financial Stability Fund. In subsequent years, some $2.1 billion to support ongoing projects may also not be disbursed. Other pipeline projects amounting to $900 million may also be suspended. This will amount to a total of $3.8 billion of external support from the World Bank being lost. This will create financing gaps for the 2024 fiscal year. What this simply means is that the implementation of the 2024 budget will be undermined and the government IMF program derailed because of stalled financial assurances from other development partners. This will in turn have dire consequences on ongoing negotiations between Ghana and the Official Creditor Committee plus Eurobond holders for the restructuring of external debts. In a larger context, financial observers say all of these will trigger adverse reactions on programs from the African Development Bank and the European Union. But what options will be left for Ghana if it wants to stem the tide? Well, the government should be compelled to rationalize its expenditure to accommodate the anticipated shocks should the World Bank suspend its financial support. In addition, government must be rigorous with its revenue collection measures, but more importantly, find alternative funding sources to plug the financial gap.
That was a news desk report by City News' Nilate Latte, but there have been further reactions to this from Parliament. Al-Hassan Suhini, who is a proponent of the bill, says a proposal made by the Finance Ministry to the President not to sign the bill into law is scandalous. Let's listen to him together with MP for Bolebambo Yusuf Sulemana reacting to the issue.
It's a tragedy. It's very disappointing that the Finance Ministry, headed by a minister a while ago who spoke highly about the pride of our country, all of a sudden will be taking this position. The president has spoken severally about the need for us to live beyond aid. And I am disappointed that we do not see this as an opportunity to galvanize the collective strength of our citizens and sympathizers to show that we can indeed live beyond aid, especially when that aid is tied to a way of life that is alien to us as a people.
If there's a very important moral issue such as the LGBTQ that we're talking about, I don't expect him to go this direction. All he's saying is that money is better than our religion, more or less, because our religion, and he's a very learned person. He's highly learned in the Quran. And so I want to justify this from the religious point of view, rather than talking about the economy. In any case, what are we talking about? Do we know the harm that this will cause this society, even in terms of monetary value? And so his concern is that because he has become a minister of finance, he should sacrifice all the ills, all the things that are going to happen if this thing is allowed to go on in this our country.
You heard members of Parliament for Tamale North and Wale Bomboy, Al-Hassan Suhini and Yusuf Sulemana, respectively. Also, economist Dr. Patrick Isumi has called for broader discussions on the potential effect of assenting to the anti-LGBT Plus bill, adding that the Finance Ministry cannot be the ultimate advisor to the President on the bill.
I have seen the U.S. Embassy issue a statement proposal coming from the IMF about what the potential implications may or may not. I think that, this probably requires a national discussion about where we want to go and what we want to do, whether we are going to sacrifice something that we feel strongly about because some people may withhold aid or grant. I think my main concern is that it's not for the finance ministry to decide what matters to Ghanaians. It's for Ghanaians to decide. If we've come to the point where people are threatening that we are going to withdraw this aid because of that, then Ghanaians will decide, well, you can keep your aid. You keep what we believe in. So, but I don't think it's proper for the finance ministry to try and stampede the president in deciding whether to sign or not to sign.
That was economist Dr. Patrick Isumi. Away from that, the Electoral Commission says it will start receiving nominations of candidates for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections from 9th to 13th September 2024. This will be followed by the balloting for positions on the presidential ballot paper on September 23 and the parliamentary balloting on September 24. The Electoral Commission expects to declare the results of the 2024 presidential polls within within 3 days of the voting exercise if everything goes according to plan. In its program of activities for the 2024 general election, the EC says it will conduct a voters registration exercise from May 7 to May 27 and proceed with a nationwide exercise to replace missing voter ID cards from May 30 rather. The registration exercise will, however, be preceded by 56 days of public education on the exercise from April 1 to May 26, 2024. Now, per this schedule, the Electoral Commission also intends to submit the provisional voters register to the political parties between July 9 and July 18, 2024, and mount an exhibition of the voters register between 15th and 24th of July 2024. The final voters register is expected to be submitted to the political parties between August 30 and September 5. Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for North South Dai, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamepo, has raised concerns about the absence of a date allotted for vote transfers in the Electoral Commission's calendar.
You will notice that there's no time allotted for transfer of votes, for instance. And that's a very critical part of the electoral process. It's now non-negotiable part of the office's calendar that when you give a timeline for public education or voters registration, the voters registration exercise itself, immediately after that will be vote transfer. So it is after vote transfer that you compile the first interim register. Then that will be exhibited. So the exhibition of the interim register will happen after persons who would anticipate some movement later part of the year to some other areas where they think that they will be located in December so they can exercise their franchise to transfer those votes accordingly. This shouldn't take my political part. It's too basic and too trite an electoral activity for the EC to gloss over it.
You heard the Member of Parliament for South Dai in the Volta region, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamepo. Let's move on to some other stories now. 4 persons have been arrested following a clash between some residents of Manso Tonko Krom in the Ashanti region and private security personnel deployed to protect the concession of Asanko gold mines. 3 people died on Saturday following the clash. Members of the Amansie South District Security Council visited the community and engaged with residents, urging them to remain calm. The residents during the meeting intensified their demands for the establishment of community mining scheme in the area. Amansie South Municipal Chief Executive Clement Opokujemfi has been assuring of interventions to ensure order in the area.
The new development is that that's the council who has visited the community and we've given them our words, we've listened to them and have assured them of their safety. So there's no cause for alarm. And we've made 3 more arrests as well. So investigations are underway.
So 4 people have been arrested?
Yes.
From the community?
There's an arrest. I don't know whether it's from the community or from the metro men, but there's an arrest. And we met the community now. The regional police command has called for a meeting with the management of Asanko. So their own concerns, they say they want a community mining. I have asked them to exercise patience. Community mining is not approved overnight. So we still have to go through a process.
Clement Opokujemfi is the Amansie South Municipal Chief Executive. Let's go back to Parliament, where the Member of Parliament for Zebela in the Upper East Region, Cletus Avoka, is appealing to President Akufo-Addo to utilize his expertise in resolving the Boko disturbances the same way he addressed the Dagon conflict. President Akufo-Addo, in his State of the Nation address, expressed deep concerns regarding the expenditure incurred in resolving the Boko conflict, lamenting that the funds could have been used for other developmental projects. Speaking to journalists in Parliament, the Defence and Interior Committee member Cletus Avoka says the president can do better in tackling the conflict before his tenure ends.
Teachers have run away, nurses have run away, workers have run away. Who will take a posting or a transfer to Boko or employment in Boko? When they will come and burn a house, you don't even come from the area. That you have rented a Kwesasi man's house or a Mamprise man's house, and they come and burn it. And burn your property. People have lost their lives through crossfires and whatnot. So life in Boko has come to a standstill because of the border between the northern part of Ghana and Burkina and Togo. Boko have become very vulnerable. So it is my humble plea, I want to plead with the president, that the ingenuity he used to bring the backbone conflict to an end. I know it was started by Kufuor in 2002. Then Professor Mills took over, John Mahama took over. He brought it to an end sometime 2-3 years ago. That is why they named him, or they skinned him, Abu Dana, Abudu and Andani. He should bring the same ingenuity to conclude the Boko matter before he hands over on 7th January 2025. I plead with the president. He should use his good offices. He should use all the resources at his disposal as Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces and President of the Republic of Ghana to be able to resolve this matter in Boko before he hands over. Otherwise, he has not done enough.
Well, Cleto's advocate has also voiced concerns about the sidelining of the Upper East region in the president's recent ministerial appointments.
Look, I was a member of the Consultative Assembly that drew the Constitution, and we know why we did that. We are even we provided that there might be regional balance in appointment of ministers and public officers, and even recruitment into the security services, to have a balanced country, to have what we call participatory, to deepen democracy in the country. And that time, we proposed that every region might have one cabinet minister. At that time, there were 19 cabinet ministers by the Constitution. And then there are other sector ministers. As of now, there are about 30 sector ministers. You can't believe the Upper East region has no minister of state, sector minister of state.
You heard MP for Zebula Cleto's advocate. You're still listening to the City Prime News. Still ahead, the Heritage Caravan is now in Koforidua in the Eastern region. We'll tell you more shortly. Please stay with us.
City Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Now, the Chamber of Independent Power Generators says Ghana's power sector challenges risk further worsening. The Chamber says the sector is likely to experience an exacerbated debt of about $1.8 billion by the end of the year 2024 due to the PURC's decision to further reduce electricity tariffs amidst escalating variable costs of power production. Here's Executive Officer of the Chamber, Dr. Elik Plim Kwabla Akpetogbo, speaking on the issue in an interview with City News.
The PURC's decision to reduce electricity tariffs by 6.56%, I'm afraid, is very likely to raise the power sector debt to about 1.8 billion to IPPC alone by the end of the year. It will interest you to know that before you reduce tariffs, there should be a basis, there should be a reason. Likewise, if you want to increase electricity tariff, there are bases, there are reasons for which you will do the upward adjustments. We are in a situation where we see fuel prices, as in the gas that we use, natural gas that we use in power generation. The prices keeps going up, and if PURC is doing otherwise, you can imagine what really is going to happen to ECG's revenue-making ability. You know, ECG is at a center of making a particular revenue, what we call the required revenue, to be able to pay the power generators, to be able to pay the power transmitter, as well as pay themselves. So if this revenue-making ability is reduced, how are they going to pay the actors on the value chain? I'm afraid this is going to raise the default risk.
You heard the Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Independent Power Generators, Dr. Elik Plim Kwabla Akpetogbo. Let's stay on issues of power now. The Ghana Grid Company Limited, GridCo, has attributed the power cuts that affected some areas in the western part of Accra, Winneba, and Takoradi on Sunday, March 3, to faulty equipment at its Malam substation. The Corporate Communications Manager of GridCo, Jifak Behubampo, indicated that the engineers have already restored power to the most affected areas and are on course to restore supply to the remaining affected areas by midday.
I understand that there were some bugs or so, and that one of the reasons they had to isolate that equipment, which is part of the substation. So for now, we are not entirely sure what caused the sparks and what has led to the fault of the disconnect, but they are looking at that today because not everybody was restored yesterday. If you notice in the statement, we said we had restored most people as of midnight thereabout, but there were some areas that may still be off, and if they are, work will continue today to restore them by midday.
She also noted that the cash waterfall mechanism of revenue distribution has been fruitful, except for legacy debts, which remain a bane to the operations in the power sector.
What I know is that the cash waterfall mechanism has been reinstated. I know that there are 2 levels, tier 1, tier 2. Usually the IPPs are in tier 1, and then those of us who are states are in tier 2. There's an agreed formula for sharing all collections that come into the cash waterfall. I know that at that level, the MDs, the regulator, and the mother ministry, the Ministry of Energy, together with other partners, have been working to ensure that everybody gets something out of the collection. So much as ECG owes us, I know that there's been some progress made there.
That was the corporate communications manager of Greatco, Jifa Behu Bampo. Away from power to education now, education think tank Africa Education Watch has backed calls for the abolishment of 30% priority placement policy for public schools, describing it as discriminatory against private second cycle institutions. The policy reserves for public junior high schools 30% of all available vacancies in category A schools, while the remaining 70% are allocated on merit for both public and private schools under the computerized school selection placement system. Speaking to City News, Senior Programs Officer of Africa Education Watch, Divankpe, underscored the need for the provision of equal access to education.
Has been a policy that we have not been in support since its inception. We feel that policy is discriminatory and not in line with the constitutional demand of equal access to education for every Ghanaian child, regardless of the child being in private school. Does not mean that we should discriminate them when it comes to their access to secondary education. So we have been in support for the scrapping of that particular policy since inception. We have lent support to the private school council to ensure that they push forward for the cancellation. So if this is resurfacing, they have out. So if a lot of the private schools are low-cost private school and you want to discriminate them just because they belong to the private space, I don't think that is fair. In any case, the government should be interested in creating equal opportunity for every Ghanaian child. What that also means is that government must be interested in improving the situation in public schools if the feeling is that the private schools have better facilities than the public schools.
Divine Quest is Senior Programs Officer at the Africa Education Watch. Now, participants of the 2024 Heritage Caravan are currently in the Eastern region. The enthusiastic caravanites have embarked on a transformative journey across 14 regions over 8 days. Patrons were actively engaged in a lively Kente Deba and Savo Toto Papa at the Volta Region Bazaar in Agotime Potoi. The exciting day was crowned with a trip to the Volta Serene Hotel in Ho, where they were treated with sumptuous dinner complemented by the vibrant tunes of the Nchinchim Band. Here are some highlights and sights and sounds from Agotime Potoi.
Having set up from the Greater Accra region, the first stop for the Heritage Caravan 2024 is the Volta region. There was a brief stop in Ho, so participants could come off the bus and stretch their legs a bit. And then the caravan zoomed straight to Agotime Potoi. Now here it is 2 countries, 1 community. I say so because this community is split between Ghana and Togo. And so you have people from 1 community, but some being Togolese and some being Ghanaians. You have part of the people living in Ghana while the others live in Togo.
The people of Agotime originally are Ghana Dangbes. In 1884, 1885, the Germans, who were then the colonial masters, decided, together with the other European countries, to take their pens, their cartographic tools, and divide Africa into countries. In so doing, they did not know that they were dividing villages such as this one into 2 different countries. In as much as the division is there as a colonial relic and legacy, we are the same people, we have the same value, and we do things in common. He went on to say that Agotime has 37 states But coincidentally, the majority are in Togo. Only 11 could be found in Ghana. And their capital is Kpetwe, where we move from this place, which coincidentally is the capital town of the Agotime traditional area, both in Ghana and in Togo. For currency, most of the time is the Ghanaian cedi.
You are welcome. You are welcome to the land of Agotime.
We welcome you to Agotime. We want you to be that butterfly as described by Dr. Grandi, to go with what you have seen here in Agotime. With my happiness, I want to assure Citi TV that in your next visit to Agotime, we will use something to stamp our relationship, to be a monument in memory of your visit to Agotime. We are privileged to be part of this journey. We are with you, and we wish you well.
This is where you get to try or you get to eat the indigenous Toto Bakpa, which is apparently a variant of the fertility that you know. Let's engage some of the participants who have had an opportunity to try their hands at weaving kente. Hello, sir. How you doing?
Hi, how you doing?
Very well, very well. How about you?
I'm also fine.
Great stuff. We saw you trying your hands at weaving. Share with us your experience.
So yes, it comes with a lot of coordination. Yes, with your feet and your hands. And I guess I was sweating throughout, so you can imagine the brain power that I was using. But I guess it felt good. It felt good. I appreciated what they actually do for us, and each time anyone wears kente, how the amount of manpower that's using it.
Okay, share your experience with us.
Well, I didn't think I was gonna like it, so I only took a little bit, but it was pretty good. It was something that I would try again.
Awesome.
I think it's interesting to see in person because I've only seen it on the TV and stuff. And I never knew that there was this place also produces kente. I always thought it was Kumasi.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so coming here and realizing that it's also originated from here is a pretty interesting knowledge to take back.
City News' Nana Tufo Boateng filed that report. But let's go to the Eastern Region now and speak to my colleague Kennedy Chumesi and find out what is happening. Chumesi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for your time. Which areas are you going to be visiting in the Eastern Region, and what are you supposed to do?
Okay, Adja. So basically, we are in Koforidua, and in less than 5 minutes or 10 minutes or so, we'll reach our first destination, which is the residency of the Eastern Regional Minister, Seth Ichampong. Generally, patrons have resoundingly expressed their delight upon embarking on the Heritage Caravan. From the onset, the expedition has brimmed with an unparalleled energy, captivating participants since day one. We departed from the Boat House Serene Hotel, where we spent the night, and the journey continues to be in the Eastern region. So we'll be heading to one of Ghana's biggest hotels in the country, which is the Rock City Hotel, to have some fun there and tour the place. But before that, we will make a stop at the residency of the Eastern Regional Minister, Seth Ichampong, to have lunch and also experience some Eastern food. So basically, we'll be doing food here in the Eastern region today.
Right, Chumesi, after the Eastern Region, where is the next stop for the team? Hello. Right, it appears we don't have Kennedy Chumesi, but that was him giving us just an update of what is going to happen in the Eastern Region as the Heritage Caravan team proceed on the tour. Away from that now, 2 persons have been confirmed dead in a recent accident in Akomadan in the Ofensu North district of the Ashanti region. This marks the second of such incidents in the same area within the past 72 hours as 3 persons, including a pregnant woman also died after a tricycle they were traveling on collided with a tipper truck on Saturday. The National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, has verified the recent incident, blaming it on a truck transporting a cement mixture along the Nkenkensu Road towards the local government university construction site. Reports indicate that the cement mixer inadequately secured dislodged unexpectedly, colliding with an oncoming Sangyon bus. The two individuals remain unidentified at this time. But that will be it for today's edition of the Citi Prime News. Remember, this bulletin was live on all our partner stations in the Western region. We're on Beach 100, 105.5 FM in Takrady. In the Bono region, you heard us on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. In the Ashanti region, this was Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi. Also Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Volta region, Revival 99.3 FM in Tajewu. In the Northern region, we're on Bimbila Radio Bimbila 91.9 FM. In the Upper East region, this is Tanga 93.7 FM in Bolga. And in the Upper West region, this is Tusong 97.3 FM in Wa and Jirapa 96.1 FM. For more news, please visit citynewsroom.com. My name is Ajwa Tinkrama Domina. Many thanks for your company. Good afternoon.
Citi News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get interactive on Facebook, Citi 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at Citi 973.